Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to be talking about Ghosts of Saltmarsh and why this Dungeons & Dragons adventure that was released this very year, it's the latest one that was released in May of 2019, is important. All right, let's talk about it. What is really, really important about Ghosts of Saltmarsh, the new Dungeons & Dragons adventure? Well, first of all, just let me define what it is. So, Ghost of Saltmarsh is a 256-page adventure written for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. It's actually a recap of 7 specific modules: Sinister Secrets of Saltmarsh, Danger at Dunwater, Salvage Operations, Isle of Abbey, Final Enemy, Tomarot's Fate, and the Styes. Okay, so so basically in this book, they boldly declare that this book is a rehash of 7 old classic modules. That seems like a really strange thing to declare in a 5th edition product, right? So why would they declare that, right? Well, I think the reason why is it's becoming very clear that Dungeons & Dragons is truly, it's such an unusual, very odd product, right? And, it's part game, it's part art vector, it's part literature, it's part social experiment. It's just such an incredibly unusual product, right? It's incredibly niche, but the people who play it are super, often super rich, often super intelligent, often super creative, often super artistic, often near the top of, the hierarchies in different careers. Very, very unusual game, right? And so when you have a situation where you have a brand new product for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, declaring proudly that this is rehashed material from old modules, I think the reason for that is Dungeons & Dragons is fully embracing carrying a retro banner, right? Not as a specialty, but as a norm, saying this game is not going to live on innovation. This game lives on conservation, right? Conservation of print, conservation of the social aspects of sitting around a table and sitting around a table and just sharing friendship, conservation of shamanic rituals, right? Like gathering together as a community to tell tales and to preserve tales, right? All of these things are very conservative, right? And it's really interesting where Dungeons & Dragons increasingly is not a game of innovation. It is a game of conservation. Absolutely fascinating, right? All right, now, I'm now going to share with you what I think is the absolute most pinnacle important thing about Ghosts of Saltmarsh. Ghosts of Saltmarsh is a massive, massive, massive clue that Dungeons & Dragons 6th edition is under design right now. This is purely my opinion, and this is a deduction from logic. Why do I say this? Okay, here's why. All right, take the book, The Ghost of Saltmarsh, open it up to the credits page, right, which is like page 2, right? And right there, you're going to see the tag. It says lead designer. 2 people's names are listed. Mike Merles, nothing special there. He's been lead designer on virtually every single adventure that they've made, blah, 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 right? But then here's a new one, Kate Welch. Kate Welch was lead design on Ghosts of Saltmarsh, okay? Now, Kate Welch was hired onto the Wizards of the Coast team on January 18th of 2018. She is right now at, you're looking at a total of 19 months, right? Now, Ghosts of Saltmarsh was put out in May. That was the 5th, right? That was the 5th month of this year, which means at that point she had been there 17 months. That means when Ghosts of Saltmarsh began development, Kate Welch took lead when she had been working at Wizards of the Coast for exactly between 10 and 14 months, right? 10 and 14 months. That is extremely small amount of time to take lead design on a product, right? Now, why would would Wizards of the Coast take this choice? Well, one, I think this choice came 100%, and I think it was the right choice, right? And I'll explain why. The reason why is you need this, right? Wizards of the Coast needs this, and the reason why is I think Mike Merles about 2-3 years ago, was looking at. He's like, okay, 5th edition is up and running. I fixed the whole 4E problem. Sweet. 5th E is an absolute rock star champion of tabletop role playing games. It has kicked Pathfinder in the teeth, right, and taken back every inch of ground that game ever stole from us, right? So Mike Merles is like, okay, we have slain the Pathfinder beast and regained all territory that was lost to that game. And then he's like, okay, so 4E problem fixed, 5E is on rails. What about 6th edition? And I think he rightfully realized, oh, we got a problem. So, me, Mike Merles, I'm getting older. I ain't gonna be around for 5 or 10 years more of design development, right? We need somebody young. We need somebody hip. We need somebody who knows what they're doing. And then he looked to his right. He probably saw Jeremy Crawford, and he looked to his left, and he probably saw Chris Perkins, and he was like, oh, wait a second, we got a problem, right? And the problem is D&D's history, right? So basically there was there's a gentleman by the name of Eric Swalwell. Just this year he referred to himself as an AWM, right? An AWM is exactly the same problem that Mike Merles has with Chris Perkins and Jeremy Crawford being the lead design for Dungeons & Dragons 6th edition. Dungeons & Dragons has never had anything but AWM for lead design, right? Mike Merles was AWM, and everybody before him was, even Garrett Gygax was AWM, right? So the reality is so if Kate Welch is made lead design on Dungeons & Dragons 6th edition, it will be the first time that Dungeons & Dragons will ever have had a female lead design, okay? That is absolutely critical, right? Because Mike Merles is super woke. He understands that it's a problem, right? I agree with him. I think it's a problem. The game needs, if we're going to make this game truly accessible to women, if we're going to fully invite women into the space, right? If we're going to fix the historical problem of Dungeons & Dragons being even the perceived problem of it being an AW, there's a debate on whether it's a perceived problem and a very real problem. Regardless, right? Well, actually, I guess from the numbers, it's very clear. It's clearly been an AWM problem, right? So the reality is, Kate Welch will absolutely be the first lead design, and to me, Ghosts of Saltmarsh is a real-time clue that this is happening, right? Because the reality is, if you look at this product and you go, wait, the lead designer was with the company for 10 to 14 months? That's kind of strange, right? That's a little odd for a product, right? But it is not odd in any way if you see that Mike Merles right now is preparing Kate Welch to be the lead design on Dungeons & Dragons 6th edition. I think Mike Merles is right. I think this is absolutely critical for the history of the game. It's going to put to rest a lot of debate, right? It'll take the game in a new direction. It will allow there to be some social innovation with Dungeons & Dragons, right? And I think that's a good thing. And I think Kate Welch is super intelligent, super creative, super artistic. I think she understands social media extremely well. And I think she's a fantastic choice to be the lead design on 6E. And it is my opinion that Ghosts of Saltmarsh is a massive real-time clue that Kate Welch is on a rocket train to 6E lead design. And this is big. This is really, really big. It is my opinion that Dungeons & Dragons is an element of Americana, right? And that reality is print as a format is, we just created it in the 15th century, right? Now, with it being 500 years old, it's under massive threat, right? And the reality is, there's only one standing, bookstore chain in America. That's Barnes and Noble's. Borders went out of business, and frankly, they just announced huge huge cuts from the number of Barnes and Noble stores there are. Print is under assault, right? And to me, Dungeons and Dragons is one of the absolute most important guardians of print, right? And so with that said, with so much on the line for Western culture, right? Who you choose to be that lead is incredibly important. And so it is my very strong opinion that Kate Welch was hired specifically in mind to have the first female Dungeons and Dragons lead designer. And I think Ghosts in Saltmarsh is an absolute necessary step toward that goal. And Ghosts of Saltmarsh stands as a huge hint that this is exactly where the game is going. I support Mike Mearls in this decision. Now, of course, I'm the only one saying this. I've not heard anyone else say this, right? And if you have any, but I'm absolutely fascinated by it. So if you have any evidence that proves me wrong or proves me right, please let me know. I will be greatly appreciative. So that is my opinion on Ghosts of Saltmarsh. I'd love to hear your opinion on Ghosts of Saltmarsh. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.